think one of my favorite times on vacation is in the car, road trip with all the kids, listening to anything audio. Like you're creating the picture in your mind.
Yep. Every time she does this, you do this. And often if you don't do it, you'll read something audio.
Yeah, that's probably worse.
I'm like, you can just read it to yourself.
No, I'm going to read it to the whole family.
So I'm excited.
I'm excited too because we have something brand new launching.
Something
that has never happened before.
Never happened in the history of FamilyLife. A new project that's launching very, very soon. You're going to be the first to hear about it. But before we even talk about it, we want you to hear it. So here's a clip from what's soon to be released.
Ready, begin.
Someone's been practicing.
Hadn't noticed.
Bishop! Reset!
We've done axes all day, Master Armstrong.
Well, that is correct, Auric, and we will continue with the regimen.
Auric, you should know by now that a strong stance makes a strong fighter. Keep your knees bent and your shoulders loose.
Good to see you too, Father. He never comes on sword fighting day or archery day or...
Auric, the Kosan of our clan must be well versed in every weapon.
For the record, you can have archery. You couldn't catch me dead with a bow in my hand. Oh, and I'm ahead in spears.
What?
That is correct. In the spear category.
We're tied in spears.
Not after tomorrow.
I forgot. I won't be at training tomorrow because you wanted me at the council meeting. Right, Father?
Seems as though your time may be better spent here. However, as it is an important meeting, I suppose you could be in attendance.
Really?
It should be exciting. We will be discussing a new cattle tax.
Very funny. Fine, we'll train.
No, son. These are important skills to learn if you are to be chief one day.
It's okay, Auric. I wouldn't want to keep you from cattle tax day.
Come, son. Now, let us be going.
Okay, I can't wipe the smile off my face.
Just the music makes me happy. And this is our first audio drama coming out of Crew and the Jesus film.
Yeah, and FamilyLife. What are you talking about? It's from FamilyLife. Forget those other people. It's all FamilyLife. No, the reason I'm smiling is because there's nothing like this anymore. Everything's visual. Everything's, I'm not seeing anything, and my mind is creative. Now, we're laughing because we have the co-writers, the co-producers,
the creators,
you name it. You guys did it all. Perry Wilson, Landon, Hawley are with us.
Hey.
Are you guys smiling as well?
Every single time. I was just saying that as I was listening to that in this room, which is also happens to be where we recorded everything, it just brings back a lot of memories. Much fun. We love this thing.
Oh yeah, I'm totally smiling. I mean, we've been working on this project for close to 3 years now.
Yeah.
3 years?
Yeah, it's from when we first started iteration 1 of script 1 that's changed so much, but
script 0.
Yeah, it's fun to hear it now.
It's so interesting because I asked you guys, did you listen to Adventures of Odyssey growing up from Focus on the Family? Because we did that a lot. And when we were on road trips, we were totally into
it might have been a cassette or 8-track. I'm not sure what it was.
I don't either.
It was a CD.
Did you do that? Did you remember that or listen to those?
Totally. So I actually had a rule. I was only allowed to listen to 3 episodes a day, except for Christmas morning, because my parents would sleep in, and that was the one time I just listened to like 8 episodes. I'd just be going. But
it impacted you guys.
Oh, totally. And we were like, man, we loved it. We grew up on this stuff, and we want to do something like that. And Crew needs something like that, and so we're excited to partner with FamilyLife.
So what's the genius of this? What's your vision?
Yeah, well, I mean, we really just wanted to write something creative that tells a compelling story that you can enjoy, themes or not. It's a fun story. You can enjoy it, but also families can enjoy it together, and then they can unpack those deep spiritual, relational, familial themes together. Some things that are hard to talk about, some things that kids are often feeling, but maybe parents don't know, and just opening those things together through this fantasy world, exploring just really fun and creative concepts. Yeah.
Now, obviously, from the clip we just heard, if you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's going on yet.
True.
So help us. What's the
what's the setting?
You
What's
don't want to give
happening?
it away.
Yeah, go ahead, Landon.
Or do you want to give it away?
We'll give it. We'll give it a little away. We'll tease it. So we'd
right.
say that the Road to Kaeluma is a 5-part audio drama that retells the story of the prodigal son from the perspective of the prodigal son's son.
What's Kaeluma?
So this is a fantasy world. It's a world we made up, and in this world, we've got kind of this main kingdom, the kingdom of Kaeluma, with a good king who we can maybe guess who that might be. And then we've got a various number of independent clans of different people groups that all are kind of along this western coast. And one of them we find out has a strange connection to the kingdom, and an estrangement with the king. And so it's kind of the story of this, classic evil warlord comes in and sieges the city, and our main character Auric has kind of got to figure out, man, how do we save the city? And then as we dive into it more and more, we get to learn a little bit more about what's this kingdom over here, what's going on with them, and
that's who you heard in the clip as well. You hear Auric and his friend Vera, who are our main two characters that we feature, and Auric's father, the Chief Yannick, then comes in there at the end of the scene. And
he's the chief of kind of the main clan that we're in for most of the story.
Yeah.
So
now, who did you recruit to do this? I mean, those voices are pretty fantastic. Who's the old man? He's probably not even an old man.
Well, I might happen to be the old man.
Are you?
Yeah,
let's hear his voice.
Ready, begin.
That's you.
That's me, yeah. Now, we do pitch me down a little bit. That's the secret.
Yeah.
Because we did about 13 voices between
we have
the
a
two
lot
of
of
us,
voices
and
that
so we
we
had
are.
to play with our voices.
Really?
That's
fun.
Well, so
was
when you
fun.
start as
You
a
can
passion
save some
project,
money that way.
That's exactly where I was going with that. You start as a passion project. You have a small budget. You can only hire, for the parts that really need actors, and so we ended up taking all the side stuff on ourselves pretty much, and with some other help that we've got from our team or from others around. But yeah, we hired, I believe, I want to say 8 to 10 actors that were all so talented, so great.
And it was actually really neat. We got to fly a few of them in, and one of them, is a believer who works for a Christian theater company in Missouri, and he came in. We had someone from LA, someone right down from South Carolina. It was cool to see them all come together, and we recorded it in this very studio, like Perry said, and they had a blast doing it. So
what about the music? Because the music was pretty epic.
Yeah, if you're familiar with Adventures in Odyssey, like we've already mentioned, you'll recognize some of the music or the way that John Campbell writes music, because it's the same composer. He is so great. He has knocked it out of the park so far, and we're just excited to see how it all comes together. Yeah.
Well, I mean, honestly, this is the first I've heard.
Yeah.
So we're sort of learning as we sit here with you. I knew about it. I'm sort of, discouraged you didn't ask us to be a voice, but we'll see how it goes.
Hey, we could hold on. We can sneak in. We can sneak in right now.
Well, if you want, I'm amazing at especially accents.
How about this?
No. I'm kidding.
How about this? There's a scene, and we're dating ourselves a little bit, but where there's a fire, and there's a bunch of people shouting "fire, fire." So why don't we do this? Why don't you each give us your best fire shout? And then we'll see if we can cut it into the episode. We'll sneak you in. So
I'm sure Ann will make it, and I
No, you'll be so.
come off the mic a little.
Off the mic a little bit.
All right,
That's
go
true.
ahead, honey.
No, you go first.
No, I want to see you.
Should we
so
do
I
it at
can-
the same
so
time?
I can do it better.
Or one at a time?
well, if you want to make sure you're in it, then do it at the same time, because then we have to keep it.
You're way better at this stuff than I am.
What are you talking about?
Okay, you ready? Let's do it.
You ready, Bruce? Fire!
Oh, wait,
Fire!
we have to count to 3. We have to do it together.
I wanted to win. Go ahead.
Oh my gosh. Okay, ready?
Fire! Fire! Now you got to do your own.
Okay. Okay, ready? Fire! Fire!
Ooh,
Okay.
that's pretty good. Now, here's the thing.
Do we get money for that?
No.
Hey,
No, you do
we'll
not.
ask Crew Legal about that. They'll take care of
We
it.
won't get
when they
it. We
get
won't
back
get a
to
dime. You can't afford us. But here's the thing. This ruined my whole point. My point was going to be,
I'm sorry.
based on what I've heard so far, and maybe I shouldn't say this, they could edit it out, but there have been times, at least in my opinion, and it's just my limited opinion, that sometimes Christian art isn't excellent. You know what I mean? Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's like, oh, it's for God. It can be mediocre. From what I just heard, you care about excellence. You care about the soundtrack. You care about the voicings. You care about the script. Again, I've just heard a little clip and I'm like, this is well done.
Let's hear another clip.
And that honors God, in my opinion, that honors God. No, I don't want to hear another clip. I want you to respond to that. Is that important to you guys?
Thank you. Oh, absolutely. I mean, there are certain pieces of Christian media that I'm not the biggest fan of, admittedly. And I think I think it's great to get the example of Jesus, because Jesus told parables. He was a storyteller and he told good stories that made sense to a cultural context. And I'm like, man, I want to write stories that grip people. And then when you dig deeper, you're like, wait, there's something really valuable here. And that makes it so much better than a blockbuster movie on one hand, or, a piece of Christian media that maybe we don't appreciate as much. Like, why it doesn't have to be one or the other. And there's just such a richness to a well-told story, especially when we have Jesus.
And this guy, he was the quality control arm as well as like the head writer and the director. But he also was always the one to seek as close to perfection as we could find. I've more of a producer side, so I co-wrote with him. But I was always the one pushing, like, okay, we got to meet this deadline. We've got it scheduled for recording, so we got to get this done. Got to get this last iteration done. We got to finish these last edits. And he was always like, but it's not perfect. It's not. So we had this good push and pull of like trying to seek that excellence while still, you always got to hit deadlines. You got to hit the budget. But yeah, he was always, because of your just level of, you needed it to reach this certain level of quality to even be interested in making it.
And I tell you what, parents care about that.
And so do their kids.
When you play it for their kids, especially if it's not good, their kids are like, okay, mom and dad, cheesy, dumb, not. I don't want to hear it tomorrow night.
Kids are the hardest audience.
Yeah. And that was actually something we talked about. And we kind of made a pretty distinct choice that we didn't really want to write down to our audience. We're like, I think kids are smarter than we give them credit for.
Yeah.
Let's write a story that might be,
Well, let's talk about that, because you guys know this better than anybody. The art can be excellent, but everything lives by the story. If it's still not a great story, it doesn't matter. The art needs to matter. So what's the inspiration behind the story? I don't even know what the story is yet. I know prodigal son, but there's got to be an origin to that. Why the prodigal son?
Well, why don't you give a brief overview of what the prodigal son's about for those who don't know?
Are you saying go into preacher mode?
No, not that deep. Just a brief overview.
Yeah, time me. See if I can do it in 1 minute or less. A father with two sons, and the youngest comes and says, I want the inheritance now. And again, preacher mode would be, he's basically saying, I'd rather you be dead. I want to live my life. Father gives it to him. He goes off and basically spends it and wastes his life in Vegas. I think it says in the Greek. But wild women, and ends up at the very bottom, eating pig slop, a Jewish man, pig slop. This is a story. Jesus' details are incredible to show how low he's come, to the point where he's like, I'm at the bottom. I'm going to go back to my father and beg to be not his son again, but just a hired hand on the land, and thinking he'll never accept me. The beauty of this story is, as the son's coming back, the prodigal, the father's waiting by the mailbox, is what I always say. He's been waiting for days or months, whatever it is, and comes running. A Jewish man pulling up his outer garment to run to his son. What a beauty. It's the picture of the father's love for a son.
Which was unheard of. A Jewish man wouldn't run.
No. Right. And so the graphic detail, the details Jesus gives are so beautiful. And there's this other piece of the story. Everybody sort of misses the older brother who didn't go off in wayward living, is home the whole time, and he's jealous and he's mad that the son who didn't live the way his father wanted to live is getting the robe, the meal,
the ring.
He doesn't get to come back as a hired hand. He is a fully loved son all the way back, and the older brother's jealous of this. And we're both in this story.
Calf, and he gets the fattened
calf.
calf.
And all that's getting taken out of his inheritance, because the younger brother has all his, so he's rightfully upset.
So based on, I didn't do it in a minute, maybe 2 minutes.
No, that's good.
And I probably missed so many details, but I bet I preached 30 times in 30 years. Probably every year it's like, what a unbelievable picture of the grace of God You guys are creating an audio drama based on that. Why that story?
Yeah, I think we both have a different answer for that, and I can start. When I often tell my testimony, I often use the lens of the prodigal son. Now, about a couple years ago, when I was reading through it, I wrote down in the margins of Luke 15, man, I think I'm both of these sons in the worst way. I think I grew up thinking that what a relationship God looked like was just begrudging obedience, like the older brother. And I realized, and we learned a lot from Tim Keller and this whole process, but Tim talks about both of the brothers don't really want the father. They just want the father's stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was a pretty good religious kid, in air quotes. And I wanted what that gave me. My parents, gave me kudos, teachers, people gave me kudos. And it wasn't until, high school where I started to kind of look at the things of the world and my heart kind of was split between, I want to do kingdom things, but I want to do my own thing as well. And that's where, younger brother came in, and same thing. I just wanted approval, pleasure, you name it, and kind of lived that way. And so my journey kind of back is learning, I want to just truly seek the Father and seek him rather than like what he can give me. And I think that's been the big thing and this was a cool little note from Keller, is the younger son, when he comes back, he says, I'll work as a hired hand for you. So he's not saying, I'm going to be your slave, I'm going to do all this, but he's like, no, I can pay you back. I'm just going to work for you until I can pay you back. And that's what I do. When I sin and I'm at my lowest, I'm like, all right, get back on the horse, start obeying God again. And then I'll be okay. Then I'll be good with him. And
Muster it up.
Yeah. And that's not how it works. And I think I wanted to write that into this story for kids and have parents and kids be able to have that dialogue of understanding, because the father just run into him, both sons. He comes out of the party, talks to the older son. He runs out to the younger son, like, man, he loves us so much. And that's just something is really, really impactful to me.
Yeah. I mean, we both, I think, like, the story of the prodigal son connects to me as well. I think I always thought of myself, like, when I read the story, more as the older brother. And you mentioned the older brother already, and it's, and we were careful to make sure that we included some older brother arc in the story. But I always found myself as the one who wanted to try to be good, and it really, I grew up in a Christian home, but it wasn't really until college that I started to grasp the concept of relationship with Christ. I was all about the legalism. I was like, I want to look good. I want to not be doing, I want people's parents to be proud of my parents for how they raised their kid, those things like that.
And your parents are on staff, right?
That's true. Yeah, they still are. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you're from day one, your entire life, your parents are in full-time vocational Christian ministry.
Yeah.
Was that a pressure?
Yeah, and I'm sure, these are things that help connect to the story we wrote as well. But yeah, I mean, it's like, definitely felt, and with all my siblings as well, there's 6 of us, I definitely felt pressure as being one of the oldest to set a good example. And so that's like, when I would hear the prodigal son story growing up, I'm like, I'm kind of like the older brother, because if I'm seeing the younger brother go off, I'm like, well, I better be twice as good now, because I don't want people looking at...
Because he wrecked our reputation.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. And so, and that kind of leads to a lot of just feeling like you got to keep everything inside, and what's on the outside needs to look perfect because Christians are so perfect, quote unquote. And so, that does really connect, thinking about, like, the older son is probably watching the younger son run off and spend everything and be like, how could he do this to us? I'm going to fix it or something,
And you were that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about Tim Keller's sermon? I don't know. Did he do several sermons? I know I've heard him preach on this
in his day.
And they
his
are
book, The Prodigal God.
They are so enlightening. Was there something that you remember getting from those sermons that said, not only change your life and understanding of that story of the prodigal, but ended up, being inside of this audio drama?
Mm-hmm. Well, what I think spoke and still speaks to me is he talks about, not only do we have to repent of the very clear and blatant sin that we do, but we have to repent of the the sinful reasons we do righteous things, you know, to talking about the older brother. And man, that hit me, because there's so many times where I'm doing a good work and I'm thinking, doing pretty good, God. You're starting to get you owing me, you know. I mean, maybe that's a little bit, but in my mind, there's pride, and I think I've gotten better at catching myself being like Landon, what is the motivation for why you're doing this? Is it because you are just overflowing from the love that God's given you, or are you doing it because of any other reason? And that's wrong. And I think, I mean, we didn't really get. I mean, Jesus leaves the older brother on a cliffhanger. And so we wanted to kind of model that in ours. But we really did lean into the older brother. And it was, we actually started by making him the kind of villainous. And then we're like, we should explore the struggle. And so it was really powerful when the actor, you know, was recording. He was doing the whole scene, and you could feel the years of like, I have worked hard for you and I'm not getting what's mine. And he was in tears after it was over. And I just remember, like, we cut and we all just kind of sat there. We were like, let's sit in that for a minute. And that was cool as a writer to get, I was
going to say, who wrote that? Cause that's good writing.
I believe I want to say we both wrote that scene. I think I wrote like an iteration of the scene where the father goes out to speak to the son, and then like most of our scenes, you know, I give to Landon. Landon kind of rewrites a little bit, and then we come back and then we fine tune, and so it was definitely both of us kind of tag teaming on that one.
Yeah. So Perry, did you feel like when you heard even Keller talk about the older brother, did you identify?
Oh yeah, I mean, totally. I mean, it's just the idea of when he says that both brothers want the father's stuff, not just like, if someone who's maybe not super familiar with the story of the prodigal son reads it, they're probably going to look at the older brother as the good guy, quote unquote, and the younger brother as the unrighteous one. And really that's not the point. Like, especially when considering who the parable is being told to in the Bible. So it's like thinking about, wait a second, you're telling me that I was just as bad. I wanted the same thing as the one who went off and made a shame of himself. As I just wanted the stuff of the father. I wanted the accolades. And even in writing and producing and doing this audio drama, it's a good like gut check for us, because there's times when we're like, oh, we want it to be so good because we want people to give us the recognition of making something awesome, and you know, all these things. And it's always a good gut check of being like, but what was the heart when we started it? When we started it, we didn't think we're going to get a budget. We didn't think it was going to have any kind of high quality at all, that we were just going to do something for passion. And so it's always good to think back to that story, the prodigal son, and be like, we're doing this because we had that vision to connect with people over the story, that people that grew up thinking that, like, feeling the same way as us probably still do. And really all the father wants is just that relationship. We don't have to act or perform or be scared.
So is that sort of your hope as writers, producers, of a person that's really never heard or not familiar with the prodigal story from the Bible, and maybe they still aren't, but they hear your audio drama. What are you hoping happens?
Yeah. Hoping that, well, I think we're really hoping that families listen to this together, because I mean, there's so much, father, parent and child dynamics. Yeah. And I think if I had been able to listen to this as a younger kid, I would have been able to maybe strip back some of the legalism that I adopted. And it wasn't, it was just kind of my own misconceptions. And I think if there had been able to have a conversation. So yeah, want families to listen to this together, go listen, and then have discussions about it. And we have resources
it's a great discipleship tool is what we think it is. Like, whether Christian or non-Christian, but even like those families that maybe their child doesn't have a great understanding of this concept of the story and the way it can connect to all of us. But you put it in a world like this with relatable characters who, by the time you get to the meat of the prodigal son, they've already come to know and love our characters, hopefully, through a few episodes. And so then you see these themes interacted. So much easier to connect, especially for a kid, versus words on a page. thinking of how kids learn these days. That's why, technology is the way it is, aimed at kids. So,
well, I can tell you how I envision it just because our family's grown and I've seen how audio dramas affect a great story, a great movie affects us. It goes deep into the heart and it moves us emotionally, spiritually. And I'm imagining a family listening, and I could imagine a parent saying, I really relate to, whether it be the older brother, the brother that goes off and does his own thing. But wouldn't it be sweet for a parent to share a little piece of their testimony and then even ask their kids, who do you relate to the most? And why is that? And then reiterate, this is me like going into mom mode.
Yeah.
Then I imagine the parent teaching, discipling, pouring into their kids like, I want you to know, no matter what you do or where you go, I will always be here, watching for you, chasing after you, wanting you to come back home and come to the Father. But no matter what you do, I'm always going to be waiting. I mean, that's the part to me that, man, those stories drop deep into our hearts and then it moves us to action. And I know that that's going to happen for families, you guys.
Yeah, I mean, one of the most powerful truths, I think, and maybe I got this from Tim Keller, I don't know. When you look at that Luke 15 passage, this is the third of 3 stories about the same topic. So obviously Jesus, and it's the only time he did this, he's driving home a point. 3 times, same point.
Yeah.
He's like, they're missing something. What'd they miss? He eats with tax collectors and sinners. And he's thinking, that's who I am. That's what I love them. And they're like, that's despicable. And he's like, let me tell you 3 stories. Yeah. So the hope would be, man, if a parent is teaching that to their son or daughter, like Ann was saying, at the end of this discussion, and it won't be a one-time day, it'll be several discussions. It'll be like, you will understand the love of the Father and you'll understand the love of your father, your earthly father and mother right here. Yeah. So we're going to get to hear one more clip, but let me tell you this, if you want it, you can get it at FamilyLife.com/road trip. You don't have to go on a road trip to listen to it, but that's our / for you.
For free.
Yeah, it's free. FamilyLife.com/road trip. You're going to get to hear the whole thing. So here's another clip. Set it up for us.
Yeah, well, this clip, we kind of foreshadowed earlier in the episode that there is a evil villain that kind of comes into the story early on and provides that pressure to the village of Pahar, which is where our main character lives. And so this is his introduction. This is a piece from his introductory monologue where he kind of lays out, I'm here, this is what you got to do, or you're going to be destroyed. So here's the clip.
Of course, if you choose to reject my proposal, there will be consequences. My kingdom's expansion is like a wildfire that cannot be contained. Give Pahar to me and enjoy the luxuries of the kingdom of Saffron, or be swept up and destroyed. The choice is yours. What will it be? War, surrender, or famine?
What is that?
And to you, most honorable Chief Yannick, I eagerly await your decision.
So you can get...
I'm a little scared right now. I just got to tell you.
I'm not. I'm like in.
That was powerful.
And you can get all 5 episodes at FamilyLife.com/road trip. And you're going to want to do that. Hey, thanks for watching. And if you like this episode,
You better like it.
just hit that like button.
And we'd like you to subscribe. So all you got to do is go down and hit the subscribe. I can't say the word subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. I don't think I can say this word.
Like and subscribe.
Look at that. You say it so easy. Subscribe. There it goes.